7:36 p.m. and we're back on the record.
All right. As far as this meeting that occurred on June 4th, did you or Mr. Ring make any settlement proposal?
Yes, in a general way.
What did you propose?
We proposed, first of all, to get rid of that motion, the one that we said, whose brainchild was this? And then we talked about the other, I think we talked generally about the other lawsuits.
What proposal did you make to settle?
I think we talked about resolving and getting rid of the motion as a condition precedent to then going in and talking about the various record suits. Unfortunately, we didn't get beyond that part.
So there was never a formal settlement offer made by either side?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Was there a formal settlement offer made by either side?
I think so.
Who made a formal
I
settlement?
think we did.
What did you offer to do?
I think
settle all the cases?
I think what we said was that this motion is a piece of garbage.
Well, you said it was a piece of shit, actually.
Piece of shit, you're right. I did say it's a piece of shit. And I'm glad you recognize it as such.
Well, I don't. I don't think the people that review this are going to recognize it as that either.
Okay. But in any event, we talked about getting rid of that. And then we talked about, I think, how many other suits there were pending. And let's see if we can get rid of this, and then let's address that.
And
Now,
so you were unable to meet the condition preceding, correct?
no, you were unwilling to meet the conditions preceding.
When you say you talk about your Mr. Randolph and Ms. O'Connor.
Yes,
So then you never got to the issue of a global settlement.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say that we started off talking about the motion. That's where we started. And then you sort of migrate, and sometimes after that happened, there's no telling where it would have went, this way, that way, the other way. But this was the main event in our eyes.
So you wanted to get rid of the motion.
Yes.
What were you willing to do if they got rid of the motion to settle
Well,
the litigation?
we were willing to hopefully figure out a way to get rid of the record suits.
All the lawsuits?
Well, I don't know, because we didn't get that far.
Okay, well, did you have a proposal in mind when you went to that meeting to settle?
I think the proposal that we had in mind was to start with that motion, and that's exactly what we did.
So you wanted the motion to be withdrawn, and then you were going to just discuss settlement?
That's the way that I'm familiar with how you make a settlement.
Well, normally you have a proposal in mind. What was your proposal to settle all the cases?
Well, normally you may have a proposal in mind. I do it my way, you do it your way. I told you the way I do it, and let's move on.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to understand what happened, because I haven't heard of a settlement proposal from you, and I haven't heard a settlement proposal recounted in your testimony from Ms. O'Connor or Mr. Randolph. I've heard you call it a settlement conference. Was there any proposals made by either side to settle the litigation?
We made it clear that when we got there, that the meeting was for settlement purposes only and for no other reason, or for no other purpose. And then we talked about the motion, and then it meandered a little bit here and there. And then when it was clear that the motion was not going to be resolved, then and there we talked about some other things. And then Mr. Randolph, when we talked about handicapped people, he shocked me. Handicapped people and landscaper, he just shocked me.
How did he shock you?
He asked us to leave. He was It shocked me. I mean, I would have never expected a Jones Foster lawyer to discriminate against handicapped people like that.
What did he say to you that you thought was a discrimination?
Just trying to think for a second. When I raised the the sober house, I said, well, maybe what I'll do is just put in a sober house down there. And he just said, this meeting's over, go ahead and leave, it's over.
That's all that happened.
Well, no, it was probably, the meeting probably lasted an hour or 45 minutes.
No, but I'm talking about the subject of, you say he discriminated against handicapped people. Did he say something about, he just said the meeting's over.
Well, no, but it was based upon a sober house, which is handicapped people.
Well, and you think that he didn't just terminate the meeting because it was clear your only reason for being there was to try to intimidate and make demands?
Well, first of all, I didn't try to intimidate. Secondly, I didn't try to make demands. Thirdly, if either of those two were his, that was his goal, he would have said it long before I ever raised the word sober house.
And have you been thinking about opening sober houses before that meeting?
I have been thinking about and am thinking as we sit here right now.
Okay. And were you threatening that to the town to try to get them to do something? Why did you say that?
Because I just said it.
Was it a threat?
No.
Well, why were you bringing that up at that time?
I'm not sure. We may have. We talked about something in advance of that, and I remember a landscaper. I raised a landscape or something. So I don't remember, but that's my recollection of what happened.
Were you threatening that you were going to open a sober house if the town didn't stop pointing out the allegations regarding your son's law firm?
Well, it's been 4 months. Have I opened up a super house?
Well, let's talk about that. 2 days later, after the meeting, you went to the town and gave them a letter. If you'll mark this next, please. Well, the next day, June 5th, you had a banner flown, didn't you?
I don't know.
Well, didn't you have a banner flown that says, Jones Foster clients, check your bills?
I think I had a banner flown that said that. I don't know if it was the next day.
Okay, well, did you, are you the one that arranged that banner?
Indirectly, yes.
Well, indirectly, you mean you told someone to do it?
Yes.
Who did you tell to do it?
I don't know.
And what airline, what company did it?
I don't know.
Okay. And who wrote the language, Jones Foster clients, check your bills?
Probably me.
And why did you have a banner that said, Jones Foster clients, check your bills?
I thought, and I still think, that this whole crowd is out of control. Jones Foster's bills went from $3,000 or $4,000 a month to $50,000 a month, which is awful high. And I think it's good for the people, good for the town, good for everybody, for people to check their bills.
Well, weren't you implying that Jones Foster clients were being ripped off in their billings?
No, you have a dirty mind.
Well, isn't that a normal, you said the clients, Jones Foster clients, you didn't refer to the town, you referred to their clients.
Yes.
And so you wanted their clients to check their bills?
Yes.
And you don't think it's a reasonable interpretation that that's an implication that Jones Foster is somehow overbilling their clients?
No.
Okay. And you didn't intend to create that impression when you had that banner flown?
No.
So if a jury shouldn't reasonably think that that was a statement or implicitly that Jones Foster is in its bills ripping off its clients?
No. Not at all.
And then the next day, you had a banner flown up and down Palm Beach County. Are you aware?
No.
Do you remember it?
No.
Do you recall there was a bar installation meeting at the Breakers?
No.
And you had a banner fly that says, JF, don't drink and drive, we'll be watching. Do you remember that?
I remember the banner. I don't remember it even going near the breakers.
Well, do you direct where these banners go, where the planes fly?
Generally stated, I would say yes.
Okay. So who do you talk to about where you want the planes to fly?
My secretary.
Okay. And where did you say you wanted the JF, don't drink and drive, we'll be watching banner?
I don't remember, but it was between point A and point B.
So you don't remember the specifics?
No.
And what about the Jones-Foster clients check your bills? Did you give her a geographic area for that?
Check the form.
Geographic area to have the planes fly.
Yeah, the answer is I don't recall. I mean, I just don't recall.
And on June 6th, that same day that you had the JF, don't drink and drive, we'll be watching, you were doing this out of anger because Jones-Foster wouldn't dismiss the motion regarding disqualifying the law firm, right?
I thought you were a lawyer, not a psychiatrist.
I'm just asking you a question. I'm not.
Okay.
Really,
Well,
that's why you did it.
don't tell me about me being about anger.
Well, I can lead my questions. What was your motivation? If it wasn't anger.
Won't you read me your question again?
When you had these two banners flown, was it done out of anger?
No.
Was it done for the purpose of retaliating?
No.
Why was it done? Why was it done
Because
immediately after this meeting that Mr. Randolph carefully details in his 2.5-page memo?
The 2.5-page memo that you're saying he carefully details that you're not going to share with us?
Oh, I'm going to wait to see if you decide this was a settlement meeting or not, because if you take the position with the court as a settlement meeting, I don't think you're entitled to it. If you admit it's not a settlement meeting, I think you are. So I guess we'll have that discussion before the judge when you decide which side of the bed you're on. Your client seems to think it's a settlement conference. I don't, but we'll have a debate about it.
Bob, I'm simply referring to your statement that Mr. Randolph carefully details something that you haven't shared with us.
I've read you excerpts from it, and you'll see Ms. O'Connor has one that's remarkably similar to it. And contrary to Mr. O'Boyle's statements, I know them both to be very ethical, honorable people. But anyone who relies on Mr. O'Boyle's judge of character does so at their own risk, I suggest.
You don't need to respond when all he's doing is giving a speech.
I've sat here and listened to him tell me that my co-counsel lied to federal judges. And let's talk about this letter, Exhibit 16, Mr. O'Boyle. You wrote Mr. Thrasher.
Hold on. Is this a one-copy letter? Can I see it?
Yes,
before
you can.
Thank you. Do you have extra copies of this, or just the
I
one?
do not. But apparently Mr. O'Boyle says it's floating all around Gulfstream. And he's filed a lawsuit over that. It concerns him that his letter would be floating all over Gulfstream.
Join. Can I?
The Silver House letter? Yeah. I'm just looking to see if I have another copy.
Do you have this Silver House letter? No, I have it.
it's in,
Randolph, do you recognize that letter?
It's not in front of them at this point. Skip has it right now.
Okay.
What's it, 16th?
June 6th?
6th?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you deliver this letter to the town of Gulfstream?
May I?
Sure.
It was delivered from my office, or it appears to have been delivered from my office.
So that was not delivered by hand, that was delivered electronically? Or by
I would
fax?
say so. Not fax it, but
And so you personally made the decision to form a company to acquire houses in Gulfstream for use as sober houses. I intend to begin the implementation of this program forthwith, right? Is that what you stated in the letter?
you're reading it, not me.
Okay, is that what you stated in the letter? And did you, in fact, on June 6th, 2 days after the meeting with Mr. Randolph and Ms. O'Connor, form a company for the purpose of opening sober houses in Gulfstream?
I don't know.
Did you direct Mr. Ring to form a company by the name of Sweet Apple Sober Houses LLC on
No.
June 6th,
No,
2014?
no.
And the registered agent is indicated to be William F. Ring Jr. He's your attorney, right?
He is, you can say he's my attorney, yeah.
And he was the attorney who was with you at the meeting where you threatened to open sober houses, right?
I didn't threaten anything.
Well, it's where you stated you were going to open a sober house. He's the lawyer that was with you at that meeting, right?
Well, how about if I was going to open a hamburger stand? Was that a threat?
Mr. Ring was with you at that meeting, right?
Was that a threat?
Did Mr. Ring was Mr. Ring in the vicinity of you when you said you were going to open up a sober house?
I don't know if he was or not.
And after that statement was made, Mr. Randolph asked you to leave his office, right?
Yes.
And within 2 days, who actually filed the Sweet Apple Sober Houses LLC, Florida Limited Liability Company articles with the Secretary of State?
I don't know.
Did you ask that it be done?
Did I ask that it be done?
Did you ask a secretary like Ms. DiMartini or someone to do that?
I would say yes.
Okay, who did you ask to do it?
I don't know.
Was it Ms. DiMartini?
I have no idea.
And did you ask Mr. Ring if he was willing to be the registered agent?
Nope.
How did Mr. Ring's name get put on the registered agent?
We probably put it there.
Without his permission?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, since I filed the motion for sanctions, has Mr. Ring asked to have his name removed
I don't think
as a
it's-
registered agent?
I don't think he knows it's there.
Okay, well, the motion was served on him, and it makes reference to this application. Do you know, has Mr. Ring ever discussed with you, have you discussed with Mr. Ring the fact that his name is a registered agent?
I'm going to assert the attorney.
Answer yes or no. I don't want you to get into substantive conversations. You can answer whether you discussed it or not.
Okay, what was your question again?
Did you tell Mr. Ring you were putting his name in as registered agent?
I don't recall that we did. I did.
And you listed yourself as the manager, correct?
I don't know.
Okay. And why did you pick the name Sweet Apple Sober Houses LLC? Was that any reference to me?
It was a reference to the town was highly objectionable to having sober houses. You, I thought, were taking a position with the town that were that you're going to break them, and I thought we would put that, we would use that for a name, and that would be the name. It was funny, and that ended up being the name.
So you did it because it was funny and you thought I was taking the town in a way that would break them?
No, I think that you're going to end up breaking the town, is what if I didn't make that clear, that's what I think.
So that's why you put my name on the sober house?
No, what I said was, you have to take the two of them together. And I took the two of them together, and I thought that it was a combination that would knock everybody down a notch or two. I thought it was funny, but besides all of that, it's something that the First Amendment of the Constitution allows me to do.
That's your legal conclusion?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And so the purpose was to knock people down a notch or two?
No.
You said? Did you say that was one of the purposes, to knock people down a notch or two?
No, what I said was that the town is out of control. I think you're out of control. I put the two names together and we formed the company. I thought it was funny. I thought it brought smiles to people's face. And in addition, I thought that it, losing my train of thought for a minute, so excuse me, it would bring things down a notch or two. And the First Amendment allows me to do it, so I did it.
I guess we'll find out if the First Amendment allows you to do it
Sure.
at some point. But right now, what do you mean by knock down a notch or two? What are you referring to?
What I'm referring to is when people get a little high on their horse, you knock them down a notch or two.
So you use my name in order to knock me down a notch or two?
I think so.
In order to hurt my reputation?
No, not at all.
You wanted to, did you want to affiliate me, my name, as a professional, with your efforts to put sober houses in Gulfstream?
I wanted to lay out the name, I can't think of it now, Sweet Apple Sober Houses, because I thought it was funny. I thought it would knock things down a notch or two, maybe make the people focus a little bit more, take a closer look. And I thought that it was not in violation of the Constitution. So
Well, you don't think it's defamatory to put my name with an activity that you believe is offensive to residents of Gulfstream?
Objection, form.
It shouldn't be. If the people of Gulfstream are going to discriminate against handicapped people, shame on them, starting with the top down.
Well, what if I wanted to put a sign up in a house next to your house in Gulfstream that said Martin O'Boyle Whorehouse? Do you think the First Amendment gives me the right to use your name in conjunction with whorehouse?
After I spoke to my counsel, I'll give you an answer.
Okay. Did you get any legal advice from any lawyer before you decided to use the name Sweet Apple Sober Houses with regard to your efforts to place a sober house in Gulfstream, Florida?
Well, you asked two questions there.
Did you obtain any advice from any attorney with regard to the issue of whether or not it would be defamatory to associate my name with a sober house in Gulfstream, Florida?
Well, first of all, I don't think it is your name, but put that aside for a moment, because it's two names. But when we designed the name, we designed it with you in mind. So I just tell you that.
Who's we, Mr. O'Boyle?
Me.
Well, you said we. Who did
I
you?
know I said. I said
You
we.
you didn't have someone else that you did this with?
Nope.
Discuss it with your wife?
Nope.
How about your son?
Nope.
How about Mr. Ring?
Nope.
Just you.
Yep.
So you had me in mind,
Yeah.
and you wanted to bring me down a notch or two, and you thought it was funny,
Yeah, I did think it was funny.
and you wanted to bring me down a notch or two.
Yeah, I think you need to. I think you need to go down a notch or two.
Okay. And
And I think
you think the First Amendment
I
protects
think
you?
these guys need to go down a notch or two or three.
And what about you? Do you think you have any issues that maybe you need to confront?
No.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome. I would invite you to utilize the First Amendment to take any action that you wish that complies with or where you're protected by the First Amendment against me. That's what it's there for, and I would encourage you to do it.
Do you think you could open up something, call it Sweet Apple Whorehouse?
You're asking to speculate at this point.
I'm saying you're telling me you tell me your legal opinion as to the First Amendment protects this. Did you give consideration of whether or not you could say Sweet Apple Unethical Law Firm and put a sign out in front of a building in Deerfield Beach? Just Sweet Apple Broker and Farkas rip-off lawyers. Do you think you could put a sign up that said that? And that's the First Amendment protects you to do that?
The First Amendment protects you to do certain things. Whether it protects you to do that, I don't know.
Do you think it protects you to directly or indirectly defame people? Or to associate them with businesses? You knew I had no association with this business, right? I wasn't involved in this entity. Strike that. Did you believe that I had any involvement in this company, financially or otherwise?
I think I've answered the question multiple times, and what I'd suggest is that we move on.
Where would you like to move on to?
Wherever you'd like.
And after this letter was sent to the town, did you become upset that people in the town obtained a copy of it?
Well, I think, no, not upset. It's just, it annoyed me because when you send a letter to the town, they are not to send it to their cronies to spread it around and say, oh, Boyle's a bad guy. So several people called me and told me they had a copy of it. So all I want to do is find out who's got a copy and where they got it from, and then I'll deal with it.
Okay. Well, that letter was sent to the town, right?
Yes.
And it's a public record.
Yes.
And anyone can ask for a copy of it.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I think so.
Why couldn't anyone do like you do and just go ask for a copy of this letter?
I'm not answering that. I already answered.
Well, didn't you expect that when this letter was sent that it would become a public record?
Yeah, but what I didn't expect is that nobody would ask for that public record and it be all over town. That's what I didn't expect.
How do you know no one asked for a copy?
Because they put their public records online and it isn't there. Mr. Thrasher wrote it in writing. He said there hasn't been a written request. It's all verbal.
Well, are you saying that in order to request this document under the Public Records Law, someone would have to do it in writing?
No.
Okay, so why couldn't someone ask for this letter?
They could.
And
they
why
could.
couldn't it have been given to them?
They could. And after I take their deposition, I'll know.
Whose deposition?
We'll figure it out.
Okay, you've sued the town alleging that this letter was disseminated improperly, right?
I don't think I said improperly, but maybe.
And you subpoenaed me because you want to know what I know about how this letter was disseminated, right?
Because it showed, Mr. Thrasher said it was only disseminated to 3 people. He said to Ms., I can't think of your name again, O'Connor, Mr. Randolph, and you.
So we got copies of this and written copies of it.
Yeah.
And you want my deposition because you don't understand that any individual could walk in and get a copy of this letter, and in fact did?
That's not what I said.
Form.
Okay, well, we'll deal with that in your lawsuit, Mr. O'Boyle.
Yeah, we sure
We
will.
want money, please. And you emailed Gordon Kraft on June 15th. Gordon, I feel no obligation to respond. I'm writing to you now voluntarily. I have no intention of putting a sober house in Gulfstream for reasons, inter alia, I wouldn't have a clue on how to run one. I was, however, approached by an out-of-state company that seemed set on putting sober houses in Gulfstream and the surrounding areas, but only on the water in Gulfstream. For reasons unknown to me, they asked me to lead their charge. They offered to pay me a very handsome sum. I'm struggling with their offer, whether to accept it or not. As I said, it's a ton of money, and I know if I don't take it, someone else will. Did you write that email?
I did.
Why would it concern you that people in Gulfstream would know of your stated intention to open sober houses?
Because I think the hierarchy, the mayor, Mr. Thrasher, I think they lie, and I think they did it in an effort to try to dirty me up. And all I want to do is what I'm entitled to do, Mr.
How-
Sweetapple.
Mr. O'Boyle, how would associating you with your letter to open sober houses dirty you up?
Okay. You could ask them.
Well, I'd like to know from you. You said you didn't want this letter being disseminated because it would dirty you up.
No,
Now tell me how it would dirty you up.
It has been disseminated. People, if you read Mr. Kraft's letter, I think you'll learn a little bit. It says there, I can't believe you're going to put a sober house. You're going to ruin the whole town. So I think that gives you a little hint.
So in other words, your neighbors got mad at you because you were going to open a sober house.
Objection form.
Let me tell you something. I don't know whether my neighbors got mad at me or not, but you know what? If my neighbors want to discriminate against handicapped people, and if the mayor wants to, and the town manager, to hell with each of them.
That you're going to open a sober house, right?
We'll see.
And you want to call it Sweet Apple Sober House.
I like that name. I do like that name.
Okay, good. We'll see how we deal with that, Mr. O'Boyle.
Yeah.
Question?
No, that's not a question.
Okay, great. Another question?
Which company, out-of-state company, has contacted you that's offered you money to open up a sober house? Is that true, or is that just something you made up to further
No,
your
it's
threats and
true.
intimidation?
It's true.
What's the name of the company, Mr. O'Boyle?
I think it was called I think it was called Tintern Corporation, and they were out of, I think, either Red Bank or Little Silver, New Jersey.
And how did they contact you?
I guess one of my friends, I do have some friends.
Real friends?
Huh?
Real friends?
Yeah, no,
It's ridiculous.
yeah. Probably mentioned that I'm in Florida. I'm a real estate developer, and I have some knowledge of high-end real estate.
And did this? Now, who is it that contacted you?
It was called Tintern.
And did they write you or call you?
They called me.
Did they ever write you?
They may have.
Do you have any emails from these people or any writings from these people?
I don't know.
And who did you speak to there? You said they made an offer, very handsome sum. How much did they offer you?
I think it was $250,000 a project. I think
To get an approval or for the land or what?
to get it developed to where whatever had to be done, go through the approval process, and do whatever has to be done. I don't know, as an example, maybe a bathroom has to have handicap facilities, it may have to have, I don't know.
So it's a
'Cause
very
I've
attractive
never done
offer,
it.
right? Very attractive
I
offer.
thought so, yeah.
And you were struggling with it, right?
I was struggling with it.
Trying to
yeah.
decide if you could accept it or not, right?
No, trying to decide if I wanted to accept it.
Right. And so if you decided to accept it, who would you contact to let them know you accepted it? What's the name of the person and the telephone number? Where do you have that?
I don't know. I may have chucked it.
Oh, so you if I ask you in a request to produce for the name of this supposed person that offered you $250,000 and their contact information, you think you chucked it?
Well, I will find out. You'll send the notice to produce, and we'll find out.
Do you recall what you did with it? Did you ever write that information down?
I just told you a second ago that I didn't know.
No, but I haven't asked you if you wrote it down. I asked you if they wrote you. Now I'm asking you, did you write this information down when you
No,
spoke?
that's what you asked me. You asked me that, and what I told you is the best I can tell you.
Let's talk about the motion to disqualify the O'Boyle Law Firm and in the alternative for an evidentiary hearing, which
Withdrawn motion?
well, it's going to be, it's been, first of all, dealt with appropriately as required by law. Second of all, it's going to be an amended affirmative defense and counterclaim in these cases, as well as be a part of other lawsuits that are being filed. But it has, as the motion said, not been abandoned. We decided we did not want to pursue the relief by just asking to have the law firm disqualified, that we wanted to seek more serious and permanent relief. So,
No, I understand.
yes, the motion, if you saw, the motion was withdrawn without prejudice to all of the rights that are enumerated in that withdrawal, which obviously we're obligated to pursue, and we will discharge all of our obligations.
And thank you for that. I was just asking whether this is the withdrawn motion
Well,
you
of
were
course
talking
you
about.
knew that. You saw that we withdrew it and said what we were going to do. So you're again just editorializing and being facetious. But that's okay. Let's go through the motion that you said was
What's
shit,
wrong with
Mr.
you?
O'Boyle. And
Apparently I'm editorializing when
what's
Mr.
wrong with
Sweetapple
you?
has talked for hours, this deposition, just making statements without questions.
they're called leading questions, counsel, and that's what I do with adverse parties all the time. So I haven't heard a forum objection in 5 hours, and now you're giving speeches again about the depot. You haven't made one forum objection in 5 hours.
I'll
Not
tell you
one.
what, if we go back to the record and you find a forum objection in the last 5
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
do I get some sort of prize? Because I believe I have made several forum objections.
Okay, when I'm leading the witness, you have never taken any objection to my making statements and saying, isn't that true? That's what you do when you have the opposing party. That's how you cross-examine, and that is how you're permitted to depose. He's an adverse party.
That's your 34 years of experience talking, right?
Yeah, you can lead a...
Well, I don't care what your instructions are, just ask your questions.
Okay, well, my questions are statements followed with, isn't that true, quite often.
Listen
That's
to
what-
him. You'll
that's
learn.
That's what I'm permitted to do, obviously. It's pretty clear. It should be clear to you that that's what you do. But, you know,
you need
let's
to-
go back to
you need to listen
Let's
to
go
him.
back to the allegations regarding your son, Mr. O'Boyle. Okay. Was your son's firm originally called the O'Boyle Law Firm and created in November 2013?
I don't know.
Did it list with the Pennsylvania Department of State its registered office address at 1001 Broad Street, Johnson, Pennsylvania, with no mailing address?
I don't know.
Did you ever look at that when you saw this motion? Did you ever investigate that?
Do you have any documents to show me? Then I won't have to investigate it. We can resolve it right now.
I'm asking you whether or not, when you read paragraph 1 in the motion, if you did anything to investigate if the facts alleged in that paragraph were true.
No, I didn't do anything.
Did you speak with your son to ask him if the facts were true?
No.
Paragraph 2, it says, according to the Florida Department of State Division of Corporations, the O'Boyle Law Firm, PC, Inc. is a foreign-profit corporation with a principal address in Deerfield Beach, Florida. The corporation lists a mailing address at 2146 East Huntington Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Did you do anything to investigate whether that paragraph was true?
No, but I do want to point out that Kevin Tynan, who's an ethics lawyer, wrote to you in connection with the inquiries that you made and said if you have any questions to please contact him, something that you refused to do. Go ahead.
I'll be happy to show you my letter to him and his response, which did not answer my questions that I did pose to your son. In fact, it specifically ignored numerous questions that I asked your son and did not dispute other assertions I made in my letter. So we'll be happy to go over all that with you,
Okay,
Mr.
let's see
O'Rourke.
it.
So let's go to number 3. Do you want to answer with regard to number 2? Did you do anything to determine whether or not the allegations in paragraph 2 are true or false when you got this motion? I just read them to you. According to the Florida Department of State, Division of Corporations, the O'Boyle Law Firm, PC, Inc. is a foreign profit corporation with a principal address in Deerfield Beach, Florida. The corporation lists a mailing address at 2146 East Huntington Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Did you go and look at the Department of State Division of Corporation filing for the Florida O'Boyle Law Firm, PC, Inc. filing to see if that statement was true?
I did not.
Okay. Do you know if it's true or false, that statement?
I don't know.
Okay. 3, okay, with regard to 2146 East Huntington Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, do you recognize that address?
I don't.
Is that an address where one of your children resides?
Maybe.
Is it where your daughter resides?
It may be.
You don't know for sure?
Don't know.
Isn't it a townhouse in Philadelphia where your daughter resides?
Don't know.
Did Jonathan ever reside there?
Don't know.
Did Jonathan ever conduct law out of that location?
Don't know.
Have you ever asked your son or your daughter whether or not Jonathan in fact used 2146 East Huntington as the address for the O'Boyle Law Firm?
Can you say that again?
Did you ever ask your daughter or your son Jonathan whether or not Jonathan ever practiced law out of the address 2146 East Huntington Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. And your son, paragraph 4 says that the O'Boyle Law Firm, PC, Inc. identified Jonathan R. O'Boyle as with an address of 2146 East Huntington Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as its president in its filings with the Florida Department of State Division of Corporations. No other officers are identified. Did you check the filing to see if there are any other officers identified?
I did not.
Prior to going to the meeting June 4th, were you aware that your son indicated that the address of his law firm was 2146 East Huntington Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
No.
Strike?
No, I was not.
Okay, you were not aware that he was using that address?
No.
Okay. Did you believe that your son had a law firm somewhere prior to, or strike that in November or December of 2013?
Can you say that again?
Did you understand that your son had a law firm somewhere in November or December of 2013?
I don't know.
Did he ever tell you he had an office somewhere?
I don't recall.
Did you ever go to any opening of an office, a party or anything for his office in November or December of 2013?
Not that I recall.
Did you ever get an announcement that he had opened an office anywhere in November or December of 2013?
Not that I recall.
Did you ever get a business card that showed an address and phone number for an office in anywhere in Pennsylvania in 2013 for the O'Boyle Law Firm from your son?
Not that I recall.
Did you ever see any stationery that your son had prepared with the address 2146 East Huntington Street as an address for the O'Boyle Law Firm, PC?
Not that I recall.
And did your son ever tell you that he was practicing law with any lawyers in Pennsylvania as part of the O'Boyle Law Firm?
Not that I can recall.
Are you aware of any lawyers that practiced law with your son in Pennsylvania in 2013?
Not that I can recall.
Did he ever tell you he had a secretary? in Pennsylvania?
Not that I recall.
Did he handle any cases for you in Pennsylvania or New Jersey in 2013?
I don't know.
In paragraph 5, I recited that, however, as of April 4, 2014, Pennsylvania has listed him as an out-of-state lawyer with an address at the home of his father, Martin O'Boyle, at 23 North Hidden Harbor Drive in Gulfstream, Florida, and a telephone number with a 561 area code. Thus, as of April 4, 2014, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did not reflect that any lawyer with the O'Boyle law firm actively practiced in the state. Did you do anything to determine whether or not those allegations were correct?
I was unaware, and I don't have any knowledge.
Were you aware that your son indicated on his filing with the Pennsylvania Bar that he was an out-of-state lawyer and not practicing in the state of Pennsylvania?
Pardon?
Go ahead.
I was unaware. I did not look at the bar or whatever you just said.
When you received this motion, did you look at any of the exhibits that were attached to it?
Probably not.
Okay, so you just got enraged and didn't look at the backup.
I didn't say that.
Did you get mad when you saw this motion for the first time?
No, I've realized who prepared it. How can I get mad?
Okay, so you weren't at all concerned about it.
That's not what I said.
So you just dismissed it because of who wrote it.
That's not what I said either.
Well, let me say this. Did you know that your son, while he was telling were you aware that your son advised the Pennsylvania Bar that his address was your home address, 23 North Hidden Harbor Drive?
I have no knowledge.
And were you aware that he provided the Pennsylvania Bar with a Florida mobile telephone number as his telephone contact?
No, but I think that's all right.
And are you aware that the Florida Supreme Court records as of April 4, 2014 did not reflect any lawyer with the O'Boyle law firm actively practicing in the state of Pennsylvania?
The Florida records or
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court records. Were you aware of that?
What was it?
Did you ever do anything to determine whether or not the allegation in paragraph 5 that as of April 4, 2014, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did not reflect that any lawyer with the O'Boyle law firm actively practiced in the state? Did you ever check to see, as of April 4, 2014, whether or not your son or any lawyer from the O'Boyle law firm was registered with the Supreme Court as actively practicing in Pennsylvania?
I did not check his. No.
Okay, and are you aware that after April 4, your son reflected with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court that he practiced in Cambria County, Pennsylvania, with an address of 1001 Broad Street, Johnstown, PA?
What's your question?
Are you aware that as of May 29, 2014, well after the articles for the Florida O'Boyle firm were filed, that your son listed with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court indicating that he practices in Cambria County, Pennsylvania? Were you aware of that?
I was not.
Okay. Are you aware of any address in 1001 Broad Street, Johnstown, PA?
I am.
Okay. Do you have property there?
I do.
Do you have an office there?
I do.
And does your son have does the O'Boyle law firm have an office there?
I don't know what name is there, but my son has an office there. Yes.
Is there any lease with the O'Boyle law firm at that address?
Yes, my son and I have agreements between us that are. It's my son. I don't need written agreements. I trust him.
So there is no written lease with the O'Boyle law firm with regard to any space at that location?
No, nor with my wife.
Okay.
I don't make her sign a lease either.
Okay. So who is your lease with Jonathan O'Boyle?
We never discussed that.
Right. Well, it couldn't be with a corporation if it's all right, for the rental of real estate.
Okay.
Right. How long is this lease for? How long are you allowing him to stay there?
I told you the details. We never worked it out. He's my son. It's my building. He's there. And that's where we are. And let's move on.
Does he have any residence in the vicinity of Cambria County, Pennsylvania? Does he have an apartment or a house that he resides in there?
I don't know.
Does he work out of that location in Johnstown, PA?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You've never spoken to him about that?
I don't go over with him where he operates, who he dates, what kind of car he drives. I don't do that. You may do that with your daughter, but I don't do it with my son.
Okay, well. And so you don't know if he has any residence within 5 hours even of Johnstown, PA, where he lives, so that he can practice law there, right?
He has no residence, to my knowledge, in the world. So if that helps you.
Okay. Well, do you have any residential properties in Pennsylvania that you have allowed him to live in?
No, but not very far away in West Virginia.
In West Virginia. How far in West Virginia?
How far?
Yeah. From the address in Cambria County.
Oh, I don't know, and I don't know. Plus, we have property in Pittsburgh. So, which
Residential
is
property?
Pardon?
A house or residential property?
It can be used as a house. Yeah, it's 20 miles away. Our house in West Virginia, I don't know how far it is, but it's on the same identical road. Johnstown is just probably 30 miles above West Virginia. But I don't ask Jonathan where he sleeps, what he does. He does it on his own, and I don't think it's any of your damn business where he sleeps.
Well, it is my business whether or not he's defrauding the courts of this state as a member of a bar where he's attempting to become a member of the bar. It's very much my duty, sir. So,
Okay.
have you given your son permission to live in any abode in the vicinity of Cambria County?
I'm not going to answer any questions about where my son lives.
Are you aware of whether or not your son has resided at any point, has ever slept anywhere in the vicinity of Cambria County during the year 2014 to date?
I'm not going to answer any more questions about where my son sleeps.
And in paragraph 7, we allege that, as discussed below, just 2 months after the O'Boyle Law Firm was created as a Pennsylvania professional corporation in November 2013, Jonathan R. O'Boyle moved to appear pro hoc vice in Florida state and federal cases. On January 23, 2014, Jonathan R. O'Boyle filed a sworn verified motion for admission to appear pro hoc vice in the case of Christopher F. O'Hare v. Town of Gulfstream and William H. Thrasher, Jr., and I list the case pending before Manu Sasser. Did you do anything to determine if that paragraph was correct?
I didn't know the paragraph existed.
Well, didn't you read the motion that you said was shit?
Yeah, but that paragraph was really shitty, so I didn't want to read it.
Paragraph 8 says that your son filed a sworn verified motion in a case before Judge Sasser. Did you look to see if that was true or not?
No.
Okay. Do you believe there's anything untrue about paragraph 8?
No way I would know.
You didn't look at Exhibit E?
I did not look at Exhibit E.
9. In said motion, Mr. O'Boyle swore in paragraph 2 that he is a member of the O'Boyle Law Firm with offices at 2146 East Huntington Street, Philadelphia, PA. Okay. Then it says, this representation contradicts both his Pennsylvania Supreme Court listing that he's either 1, an out-of-state lawyer who can be reached at his father's home in Florida, or 2, a lawyer practicing at his 101 Broad Street, Johnstown, PA, and contradicts the O'Boyle Law Firm PC filing with the Pennsylvania Department of State reflecting a business address in Johnstown, not Philadelphia. Did you read paragraph 9 to see whether or not it was correct or incorrect?
I don't know whether I did or I didn't, but I can't say it's correct.
Okay, and you can't say it's incorrect.
Pardon?
And you can't say it's incorrect either, can you?
I could say that I'm not familiar with it. I don't know.
And you didn't look at exhibits B, C, or D when you read the motion, right?
I did not look at your exhibits.
Okay.
Bob, is there any way to speed this up instead of going paragraph by paragraph? I just want to ask him, put it in front of him, with respect to paragraphs 1 through 35 of my motion, did you confirm
I
any of
don't
these to be
think
true
so.
or untrue?
I don't think so. Unfortunately,
Well, in that case, I'm
Um,
going to start instructing him not to answer pretty soon, because I can see where this is going, and this is just not fruitful. And you can take it up with, the judge if you want to, but I'd rather not be here at 8 o'clock asking.
well, it's, what time is it now, 5:30?
It is 5:30.
Okay, so if you want to, whenever everybody wants to suspend, we'll suspend. I'm going to be taking Mr. O'Boyle in at least a dozen of his cases, and then there are a number of Caffey cases and some O'Hare cases that I'm going to be deposing him in.
That's
so there's no urgency in finishing this till 10 o'clock tonight. I'll stay here till midnight, or I'll suspend now. All right, but before I suspend, I do want to know Mr. O'Boyle's schedule, because as I put on the record, Mr. Taylor stated to Judge Blanc that Mr. O'Boyle was with his grandchildren for 2 weeks. Mr. Smith was there, and I, as an accommodation, agreed to today's date, September 15th, only to learn that Mr. O'Boyle has been spending his time at City Hall or Town Hall in Gulfstream rather than his grandchildren. So, Mr. O'Boyle, before I suspend the deposition, if that's your pleasure.
If I may respond to that.
Sure.
I
You don't have
was,
to respond to that. There's not
Huh?
a question. It's not a question. You don't need to
Okay.
respond.
Can I take a minute?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Let's go over a schedule and let's figure it out.
Were you in New Jersey during the last 2 weeks, Mr. O'Boyle?
I lose track of time, but I was in New Jersey for a week on a Wednesday, and then I came home on a Wednesday night because our home flooded.
Okay, and then you went to Town Hall.
On Thursday, I met with our engineer. We resolved the problem, and I don't know if I went to Town Hall on Friday, the following week, I don't know.
You went with the videographer to film Mr. Thrasher's
That could be, but
face.
But Nick has represented nothing. Well, I told him I was gone for 2 weeks. My intentions were to go for 2 weeks, and unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And I wish I would have been gone for 2 weeks, because I would like to have spent more time up there.
And what is your schedule for the rest of September and October? Do you have any plans to be out of the state?
Yes,
What period of time do you plan on being out of the state?
I'm going to likely leave tomorrow, and I'll be back around the 23rd or 24th of October.
You're going to be gone for approximately a month?
Yeah,
Where are you going to be?
in West Virginia.
And it's your testimony you have no intention of being here for a month.
That's correct.
And what is it you have to do in West Virginia for a month? Because you have 12 cases here that we need to attend to, some
Well-
of which you've asked for immediate hearings in. So I'm
Okay.
going to have to compel the court to have you appear at those cases.
That's fine. You
So
do-
what
do
is it you
want.
have to do in West Virginia for a month that's more important than the cases that you've demanded immediate hearings in?
I could answer you. My wife is up in New Jersey, and I would like to spend some time with her because we got cut off a week short. My birthday is October the 12th, and every year we go to West Virginia for my birthday, and we usually get there a week in advance because there has to be preparation. You're buying food, and so on and so forth. And then the following weekend is what they call Bridge Day, and it's where if anybody has gone whitewater rafting, the New River bridge, they close it and they jump off of it. They base jump it off of it, and that's the weekend after the weekend of the 12th, and then after that, we'll clean up the houses and come home.
Okay. Well, you filed a lawsuit against me and Mr. Morgan. We need to take your deposition in that case next week or the following week, so I'll be asking the court to compel that, as well as the cases where you've asked for expedited hearings. You're telling me you're just going for pleasure, and you have instituted considerable litigation that needs to be dealt with. These apparently are very important matters that you want to maintain, and I cannot accommodate any more of your requests for vacations. You asked for 2 weeks, and I'm sure that you have people that can take care of the leaks in your home. You didn't have to come home to address leaking. So we'll take that up with the various judges, Mr. O'Boyle. You're telling me you're not going to be here. You're not going to be here until after October 23rd. That's your testimony.
I think that's, let's just think again. What day is the 12th? Is it Friday or Saturday, October 12th? Sunday? Okay. So that would mean 6 days later is the 18th, and then 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, yeah.
But you'll have time to fly banners addressing myself and Mr. Morgan and police chiefs and other people, right?
Oh, yeah, but not only that, we'll probably have circulars, and we'll drop them out of 3 states about you.
Already done.
So you'll have time for that, right?
Already done.
Don't be silly.
Well,
Why don't you be nice for a change?
okay. In terms of being silly, are you the one who, and whenever it is you want to suspend, just give me some notice, and I'll continue with the questioning or suspend. Tell me what time you want to go to.
Let's take a 5-minute break and let's discuss it.
Okay.
And we'll either suspend or we'll go for a little longer.
Yeah, I'd like to go another 15 minutes just to finish a couple things up that I'm on, but,
Yeah, let's take 5 and we'll see.
okay.
Time is 5:38 p.m. We're going off the record.
Whoever said it was 5:30, they knew what they were talking.
You want to go back on the record?
Time is 5:46 p.m. and we're on the record.
Yes, during the break, all counsel have agreed that we're going to suspend the deposition at this time. There's no way we could get through it all. And I'm not agreeing to wait until October 23rd. I'll take that up with the court with regard to not only concluding this depot, but taking the other depots and the other cases.
Sure.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Bob.
And I will take a copy, and I'll leave the
Time is
exhibits with you.
5:47 and we're going off the record.